And the Prophet ﷺ comforts Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu and tells him, "You will break your fast with us tomorrow, O Uthman." You also have the dream of Abdullah ibn Haram, the father of Jabir, may Allah be pleased with them both. And Abdullah ibn Haram wakes up on the day of Uhud, and he says to Jabir, "O Jabir, I have a feeling like I'm going to die today. And in fact, I feel like I'm going to be the first one that's going to be killed in Uhud." And indeed, subhanAllah, Abdullah ibn Haram was the first shaheed of the Battle of Uhud. Something very recently, the people of Gaza. Many people don't know that thousands of people in Gaza had a dream before the genocide started, in which they saw themselves passing away. And this has become widely narrated now, and in fact, some of the people of Gaza comfort each other by reminding themselves of that dream that they had, because the end of it is Jannah. Do we have a feeling? Do we see a dream? Sometimes it is just a feeling, like a believer's intuition. اتقوا فراسة المؤمن فإنه ينظر بنور الله. With the believer's intuition, he sees with the light of Allah. And regardless if there's a premonition or not, everyone goes through the stages of death, but some easier than others. And there are good signs of a good ending. If Allah led you in your last days to give charity, to pray, to read Quran, to be of a cheerful spirit, all of this is a sign of a good ending. In one beautiful hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِعَبْدِهِ خَيْرًا اسْتَعْمَلَهُ. When Allah wills good for His slave, He uses him. So the companion said, Ya Rasulullah, كَيْفَ يَسْتَعْمِلُهُ? How does Allah use him? And the Prophet ﷺ said, يُوَفِّقُهُ لِعَمَلٍ صَالِحٍ قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ. He gives him the ability to do a good deed right before he dies. In another narration, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِعَبْدِهِ خَيْرٍ عَسَلَهُ. When Allah wills good for His slave, He sweetens him. And they said, Ya Rasulullah, how does Allah sweeten His slave? And he said, يَفْتَحُ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ لَهُ عَمَلًا صَالِحًا قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ ثُمَّ يَقْبِضُهُ عَلَيْهِ. Allah guides him to do a righteous deed right before he dies, and then He takes his soul while he's in that state. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever says, La ilaha illallah, seeking Allah's pleasure, and this is the last of his deeds, will enter paradise. And whoever gives charity, and this is the last of his deeds, will enter paradise. There are so many stories of the righteous leaving in the state. When Umar ibn Abdul Aziz rahimahullah was dying, he brings his wife Fatima close to him. And she embraces him and he says to her, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Verily, Allah rewards the patient without measure. And then he asks to be left alone. And so Fatima and the children leave the room of Umar and they start to peek through the crack of the door. And they said that a light entered into the room. And the face of Umar lit up. And he said, مَرْحَبًا بِهَذِهِ الْوُجُوهِ لَيْسَتْ بِوُجُوهِ إِنسٍ وَلَا جَانٍ. Welcome to these beautiful faces that don't belong to human beings or jinn. And then he kept on reciting, تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةِ نَجْعَلُهَا لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُرِيدُونَ عُلُوًّا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is the home of the hereafter. We grant it to those who sought not tyranny nor corruption on this earth. And a good ending belongs to the pious. Then his wife walks in and she finds him dead with his hand on his face, reclining and staring with a smile as if he's looking at his place in Jannah. جعلك في العالم المتوسط بين ملكه وملكوته ليعلمك جلالة قدرك بين مخلوقاته وأنك جوهرة تنطوي عليك أصداف مكوناته. He placed you in the middle realm between His physical world and His metaphysical world to inform you of the loftiness of your rank among His creatures. You are a gem merely enclosed by the shells of created forms. When you entered into this world, you saw people laughing while you cried. Now it's your turn to leave this world laughing while everyone else cries. It was adhan without salah when you came in, and it's salah without adhan as you leave, to indicate that your entire life was as short as the time between adhan and salah. And now Allah is calling you home. Out of the mercy of Allah, He made almost every cause of death a sign of a good death for the believer, even the ones that seem so difficult for us to witness. Uttering the shahada, dying while doing a righteous deed, dying in a fire, or dying by drowning, dying in a plague, or dying by stomach disease, dying from a lung disease, or being crushed, or perhaps dying in a car accident.